Hi, thank you for watching Dig into China. I'm Dong Sheng. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. On January 30th, the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, William J. Burns, authored an article in the Foreign Affairs magazine with the title Spycraft and Statecraft, Transforming the CIA for an Age of Competition. In this article, Burns makes a startling assertion that has stirred international discourse. His evaluation isn't merely a political or ideological stance, but arises from conclusions derived through information collection and a technical analysis within the intelligence system. According to Burns, there is a critical error in Xi Jinping's intelligence assessment. Essentially, Xi Jinping has currently misunderstood the global landscape and China's situation. Burns contends that this misjudgment originates from Xi Jinping mishandling crucial intelligence, resulting in some erroneous judgment and actions in recent years. In the article, Burns writes as follows: "No one is watching U.S. support for Ukraine more closely than Chinese leaders. China remains the only U.S. rival with both the intent to reshape the international order and the economic, diplomatic, military, and technological power to do so. Xi's growing repression at home and his aggressiveness abroad, from his no-limits partnership with Putin to his threats to peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, are impossible to ignore. For Xi, a man inclined to see the United States as a fading power, American leadership on Ukraine has surely come as a surprise. The United States' willingness to inflict and absorb economic pain to counter Putin's aggression and its ability to rally its allies to do the same powerfully contradicted Beijing's belief that America was in terminal decline. Closer to China's shores, the resilience of the American network of allies and partners across the Indo-Pacific has had a sobering effect on Beijing's thinking. One of the surest ways to rekindle Chinese perceptions of America's fecklessness and stoke Chinese aggressiveness would be to abandon support for Ukraine. Continued material backing for Ukraine doesn't come at the expense of Taiwan. It sends an important message of U.S. resolve that helps Taiwan. While Russia may pose the most immediate challenge, China is the bigger long-term threat. And over the past 2 years, the CIA has been reorganizing itself to reflect that priority. We have started by acknowledging an organizational fact I learned long ago. Priorities aren't real unless budgets reflect them. Accordingly, the CIA has committed substantially more resources toward China-related intelligence collection, operations, and analysis around the world, more than doubling the percentage of our overall budget focused on China over just the last 2 years. We are hiring and training more Mandarin speakers while stepping up efforts across the world to compete with China, from Latin America to Africa to the Indo-Pacific. The CIA has a dozen or so mission centers, issue-specific groups that bring together officers from across the agency's various directorates. In 2021, we set up a new mission center focused exclusively on China, the only single-country mission center. It provides a central mechanism for coordinating work on China, a job that extends today to every corner of the CIA. And we are also quietly strengthening intelligence channels to our counterparts in Beijing, an important means of helping policymakers avoid unnecessary misunderstandings and inadvertent collisions between the United States and China. The article is lengthy, so I just provided a brief overview of its key points. Here are my takeaways. To begin with, what has Xi Jinping misjudged and what critical errors in judgment has he made? Burns cites several instances of these misjudgments, such as inaccuracies in the handling of the Ukraine war, Taiwan, and the Indo-Pacific matter. So what is the underlying cause of these three directional misjudgments? Burns points out that Xi Jinping's core misjudgment is rooted in his belief that the United States is in decline, operating under the assumption that the US is diminishing. Xi Jinping thinks that China should take an early lead. The Communist Party of China, which originally followed a strategy of maintaining a low profile, no longer sees the need for such discretion aggression. Instead of waiting for the opportune moment, as was previously practiced, China can now expedite its effort to replace the United States. This marks Xi Jinping's significant misjudgment, assuming that the United States is on a downward trajectory and no longer formidable. Secondly, when did Xi Jinping begin misjudging the decline of the United States and opting for bold risks? Is there a distinct turning point in time for his provocative actions against the US? While consistently challenging the United States and making notable statements even prior to assuming office, such as the remark about the Western countries being nosy and interfering with China, Xi Jinping heightened the provocations upon taking office. But when did he truly step into the forefront and engage in power struggle with the United States? I will outline 3 significant events to elucidate this crucial moment. In a pivotal event on January 11, 2021, Xi Jinping delivered a formidable speech during a special seminar at the Central Party School focused on implementing the spirit of the 19th Party Congress for provincial and ministerial level cadres. The essence of his address revolved around the famous statement, "The timing and the momentum are on our side." This marked a turning point for Xi Jinping as he suddenly perceived that both time and the momentum were aligning with the Chinese Communist Party. His public proclamation of this sentiment uplifts internal morale within the CCP at that time. The second crucial time point occurred during the 2 sessions held in March 2021. Xi Jinping participated in the joint group meetings of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference and delivered a speech where he stated that China could now face the world on equal footing. In other words, China no longer needed to be modest or humble. It could confront the world directly. The idea of facing the world on equal footing implies a shift in attitude, signifying that China would no longer regard the United States as a major concern. Xi Jinping's statement in January, asserting that the timing and the momentum were on China's side, underwent a qualitative transformation by March, allowing China to adopt a more assertive stance, particularly towards the United States. The third significant time marker occurred on February 20, 2021. During the mobilization conference for the Party History, Learning and Education campaign, Xi Jinping remarked that China is currently navigating through an unparalleled and rapidly evolving global transformation. The term unprecedented changes in the century was first mentioned in 2017 when Xi Jinping observed the global turmoil and believed that China had opportunities, either waiting for the right moment or accumulating strength. However, by February 20, 2021, he asserted that these century-defining changes were accelerating. The global situation was proving even more favorable than anticipated, with favorable timing and the momentum allowing China to confidently face the world amidst the accelerating unprecedented changes. At what point in time did these 3 declarations and judgment occur? They all transpired during the first quarter of 2021. Now, what events unfolded during that period that led to Xi Jinping becoming so assertive and expansive? In the first quarter of 2021, China had effectively managed its COVID-19 pandemic, leading to a return to normalcy within the country. However, the global scenario beyond China was marked by widespread suffering. During this period, the Chinese media falsely reported that the United States had lost control of the pandemic, claiming tanks were rolling into New York and San Francisco. This misinformation spread by the Chinese Communist Party found some support among individuals connected to China. At that time, not only Xi Jinping but also many ordinary Chinese citizens perceived China as a safe haven in a world seemingly in disarray. There was a prevailing belief fueled by this misinformation that the Western world, particularly the United States, lacking the capability to control the pandemic. The lockdowns in Italy and New York were contrasted with the stringent measures taken by the CCP, leading to a widespread perception that the Western democratic system was incapable of implementing effective lockdowns and population controls. Xi Jinping's assessment was that the ongoing pandemic pandemic would profoundly weaken the Western world and consequently disrupt the entire global order. Given this perspective, he proactively declared success and announced China's readiness to assume the role of the United States. During that period, he expressed, "The international landscape is complex, the global economy is facing a downturn, and there is a significant restructuring of global industrial and supply chains, leading to heightened uncertainty and instability. The far-reaching impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has fueled currents of anti-globalization, unilateralism, and protectionism. The competition for technological innovation has emerged as a central arena in international strategic games. With unprecedented intensity in the race for technological dominance, we must maintain a strong sense of alertness and be thoroughly prepared in both thoughts and action." Xi Jinping's abrupt surge in confidence and assertiveness in 2021 stems from his conviction that the pandemic will significantly weaken the United States, the Western world, and the global order, with far-reaching and lasting impacts. He foresaw a prolonged global recovery period and, based on this assessment, felt an imperative to act promptly, advocating for the swift replacement of the United States and positioning China as a global leader. Consequently, starting in 2021, Xi Jinping adopted a notably bold and aggressive stance. When you connect these three time points, it's conceivable that Xi Jinping, reflecting on this period of history, might find it somewhat embarrassing. Thirdly, what exactly is the significant transformation that Xi Jinping has envisioning, and what does it signify? His so-called Great Transformation holds two key meanings. The first is the personal emperor dream, which he achieved by amending the constitution to secure a lifelong presidency. This constitutes the first meaning of his Great Transformation. The second meaning is the dream of China's rejuvenation, a concept distinct from the traditional Chinese understanding of rejuvenation. Xi Jinping's vision of rejuvenation is more aligned with an imperial dream, a revival of a communist authoritarian empire. To be frank, Xi Jinping's ideal is challenging to realize because it is inherently malevolent and impractical. Xi Jinping's misjudgment is not confined to a specific phase. It is clearly linked to his persistent tendency for inaccurate assessments. Even if he didn't make a misjudgment during the pandemic in 2021, he would likely make similar disruptive misjudgments in other matters. Fourthly, why is Burns now boldly discussing Xi Jinping's misjudgment of the United States? Why is there a current international consensus that Xi Jinping has been making strategic errors, continuously creating challenges for himself that he can't overcome? Why does the US share this perspective? A pivotal event underpins this altered perception. The crucial moment unfolded last November when Xi Jinping visited the United States and participated in an APEC conference in San Francisco, engaging in talks with Biden. During this meeting, Xi Jinping admitted to two significant mistakes: refraining from challenging the international order and explicitly stating in front of Biden that China has no intention of replacing the United States. In just over 2 years, there has been a substantial shift in Xi Jinping's demeanor and communication style. While Xi Jinping labels this change as a flexible approach, it is evident that this adjustment in posture is a response to setbacks. Otherwise, he wouldn't make such admissions. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.